to inspire, heal, and transform, reminding us that every challenge is a chapter and every success is a triumph worth sharing. Hi there, welcome to the Spark, a podcast dedicated to bringing you stories of transformation, real stories of some silent heroes. This podcast is about resilience, hard work, willpower, and determination. It is about the desire to succeed. We are here to share our challenges, failures, and victories with the hope of inspiring each and every one of you. My name is Mabel Shu, and I am your host.
Stories are more than words. They are experiences that shape the world, one person at a time. This is a quote from my guest for today in the person of Izuchukwu Ukandu. Izuchukwu is a communications professional with over a decade of experience in corporate communications, public relations, storytelling, journalism, and communications management. He's also an award-winning Toastmaster, a member of the Abraham Lincoln Independent Speakers Network, and a six-time TEDx curator who is dedicated to coaching professionals whose dreams are to deliver their first TEDx talk and position them for global stages. He will also be organizing the 7th TEDx Talks on 12th July 2025. So if you're looking forward to organizing any TEDx event, he is the go-to person. He's currently the director of the First Class Speakers Network Limited, and through his training, media futures, speaking engagements, and mentorship programs, he has been able to inspire thousands of people across the globe to believe that they are more through storytelling and leveraging digital technology. Izo also believes that discipline is more valuable than talent. Hi, Izo. It's great to have you today on the show. I'm very honored to actually have you here today. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be on the platform as well. And I feel this is a great privilege to be able to come on here. And you're doing such an amazing job. I hope that you don't stop. Thanks, Mabel, for having me here.
Thank you so much. Izo, please take us back to your childhood. When you were a kid, what were your dreams? What was that thing you wanted to become when you grew up? You know, there's that question they always asked us when we're younger. What do you want to become in future? So take us through that.
Yeah, I always wanted to fly aeroplanes. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to see myself in the sky all the time. But for some reason, I had the skill of fixing electric bulb, fixing electricity appliances when they get spoiled in the house. And each time I fixed all of those, my mom would always believe that I have been called to be an engineer. So from my infant stage to the point I gained admission to the secondary school, to the university, I took a program on mechanical engineering. Also, I was taking the program on mechanical engineering. I migrated into what I have been called to do in this world, and that is to leverage my voice to bring solutions and healings to people, and to also help as many people to find their voice. Thank you, Mabel.
Okay. So you said at a young age you were very good with electrical appliances. Where did you pick that up from? Given the fact that you had not received any training or so. Where did you pick that up from?
Maybe I'll consider that to be a natural skill, something you
Oh,
don't stress yourself about to do. So I had this intuition, this intelligent intuition
yeah.
about seeing myself fixing those appliances. And each time I had imagined myself fixing them and taken action, I get those appliances fixed. So I call it intelligent intuition, personal, natural skill that doesn't need anyone to teach you. You see yourself doing it, and once you attempt to do it, you get it done.
Right. Okay. But you also mentioned that you initially wanted to become a pilot. So what happened to that what happened to that dream? Or at what point did you realize that you were probably a better person in engineering than you would have been as a pilot?
I wouldn't say I was a better person in engineering. I would say that my mom inspired me into doing engineering on the basis of her observations of the few things that I did at home. So
Right.
she thought if Izu can fix these electric appliances, she believed that I can also excel in the engineering faculty. But that wasn't so because it was a burden, it was a challenge. I wasn't able to cope. It was a difficult experience doing the mechanical engineering program in the university
Mm.
until I discovered my assignment, my passion, and what works for me as a person. I am a natural communicator.
Mhm.
I like to speak. I like my voice to be heard.
Right.
And of course, I know you, Mabel, here. As you hear my voice, you're already in love with me here.
Of course I do. So I read one of your posts, I think on LinkedIn or Instagram, I don't remember exactly which one, but you said when you were growing up, on several instances, you were shut down, either by environment, by teachers, friends, or just society in general. I think I'm interested in knowing how you were able to move from this person who was shut down at a young age to this person who is so confident and is organizing talks and training people on speaking engagements. How like just take us through that.
I would say my passion. I would say my desire. I would say that it came as a result of a decision that I took at a point in my life. There was a time I participated in an art exhibition competition those days in the university,
Mm-hmm.
and I took second position across the region. It was a very big thing to have taken a second position. So
Right.
I was invited by the vice chancellor of my university at the time, Professor Ikenna Onyedo. And when I was there in his office, the vice chancellor's office, I was filled with this anxiety. I was filled with this insecurity, this imposter syndrome. I wasn't able to be myself. I suddenly realized that I could not express those ideas in my heart. So
Mm-hmm.
that became a mitigating factor. And even at the point I was asked to introduce myself, I wasn't able to introduce myself fluently. I
Right,
wasn't able
right.
to talk about myself. That's really affected my psychology and affected my personality. The day I left that office, got back to my house, I sat down and I took a decision that I am going to find my voice. And I will not only find my voice, I will help as many other people to find their voices. And this single decision inspired me getting into trainings, getting into programs such as um, Brian Tracy, with Del Carnegie, personal development programs. I got books, did some programs with Les Brown, and all of those
Mm-hmm.
international speakers. I was
Mm-hmm.
very intentional
Mm-hmm.
about pushing myself forward. You know, passion
Mm-hmm.
is very powerful, but it becomes more powerful when you lace your passion with knowledge. So I polished my passion with knowledge, and I became more intuitive. I became more brilliant. I became more exposed. I got to know a few things that I never knew before. So all of those inspired me into the person that I am today. I am not where I desire to be yet,
Right,
but
right.
I am very sure that I am not where I used to be at this point.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. That's very true. So you said that you also reminded me of when I was in the university and we were called up to do a presentation. I remember walking up to the stage and for a minute or two, I couldn't utter a word. I basically froze. I just stood there staring into the crowd. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. But at least today it's a little different. So I really do understand when you said you got up there and you basically could not say anything. I've been through that and I know the feeling. It's really embarrassing. But anyway, so I noticed that you also went on to do business management and marketing after your first degree. Was was that also one of the transitions you were trying to make when you were trying to find the thing you're passionate about, or you had a specific reason for doing that?
Well, due to my vision,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to understudy a few information. I needed to immerse myself in the knowledge of the business side of what I'm doing. Because if you don't understand the business side of your
Right,
passion, you
right,
might just be wasting your time.
right.
So that understanding gave me further direction, gave me further wisdom, and gave me further influence and the development of my mind to be able to approach my passion, not only from the place of impact, but also from the place of business orientation.
Okay, okay, that makes a lot of sense now. Please, did you have during your days in the university while you were still in school, did you have a mentor, like someone to guide you on the path you had chosen to follow?
Well, I had a lot of role models. I had the likes of Brian Tracy,
Okay.
the Dale Carnegie. I read those books,
Mm.
and I also learned a lot from my mom and a few other persons around me.
Okay. Okay. So most of it was through role modeling and not necessarily a mentor to guide you. But do you think that if you had a specific mentor, maybe to guide you once you had identified that public speaking was a thing you wanted to do you think that if you had a mentor, maybe things might have been different for you?
I wouldn't say it. I don't know if I should say anything about that because I don't regret anything I did in the past.
Right.
I hold on to it. I embrace it onto it. I've learned my lessons and I've moved forward.
Okay.
So I don't want to talk about what I should have done and what I never did. I'm so happy I did what I could have done at the time that I had the chance to do it.
Mm. Okay. So Izo, please take us through some of the challenges that you encountered and some of the failures, because I know getting to where you are today has been a whole journey. So can you please take us through some of the challenges you encountered and how you were able to overcome them?
Yeah, part of it has to do with imposter syndrome, doubting your capacity, doubting your capability, doubting your personality, and all of those things. For some reason, that was a big problem because people see you to be a king, but sometimes you see yourself as a slave. And this is also why I tell people that you must be able to hold on to your mind. You must guard your mind. No matter the fire consuming the things around you, you must see yourself not being consumed. So that's confidence in yourself is a prerogative factor that you need in order to always stand out as a person. For me, I've seen myself on many occasions losing my mind. I've seen myself losing my thoughts, not believing in myself. But for every point that I decide that I am confident in myself, I always see things go the right direction. So I've seen those moments. I've seen the dark moments, the darkest moments. I've seen those painful moments, the moments I went up to the stage to speak, and everything I had planned to say disappeared. I've been there before. I've been in that position where when I was done making a presentation, I go back to my seat, I go back to my house, and everything that I should have said began to ring a bell in my mind. So I've been in those places, I've been in such positions. What is most important is for every opportunity you have to express yourself, to speak to people, count it as a rare privilege, embrace it, hold on to it, and just give the very best as much as you can.
All right, right. Um, when you got to those moments where you felt like blacking out, what is it that actually kept you going? What is it, somebody or is it something? What's it that kept you going?
Yeah, I would say that what kept me going is my Lord and personal Savior, Jesus.
Right.
My principles has always been that there is a vacuum that only God can fill. So when I get to that point, I embrace him. Even when I'm not at that point, I embrace him. So I always look up to what has God said about Izuchukwu. It's not about what the circumstance is saying. It's not about what people are saying, but what has God got to say about Izuchukwu. So when I receive those words, I hold on to those words in moments of light, in moments of darkness. I just stick to those words. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care, Mabel. Yeah.
All right. So I'm asking now based on maybe some listeners who'd be interested in the public speaking act. Is it how long did it take you to become the person you are today? From when you decided, like when you identified that public speaking is the thing you want to do, up until the moment where you became a better public speaker. How long did it take you, approximately?
Yeah, I may not be able to give you a number, but I would say that I am still in the process. You don't get to that point and you stop. It's a progressive thing. There is no destination here. you don't count on destination when it comes to self-development. You only count on continual self-development. So I'm still there. I'm still learning. I'm still relearning. I'm still unlearning. God helping me.
Okay, great. What's the one thing you find very rewarding or most fulfilling today? With everything that you've been through, with all the struggles and challenges you've been through, what's the one thing you find most rewarding today?
The moments I don't take for granted, there are those moments where I listen to people and they say, thank God they came in contact with Izu Samuel's program.
Right.
That thank God they took my program and now they can express themselves confidently to the glory of God. So those moments are moments that I consider to be the most privileged moment, the most honorable moments, the most precious moments in my life that makes every sense it should make in all ramifications.
Right. How does it make you feel when you get the feedback you get from people? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel the way I feel when you say to a lady that you love your lady and the lady accepts you.
Ah,
It gives you joy. It
right.
motivates you. It makes me so excited. It makes me so to feel so happy about myself. You know, there is nothing as precious. It is priceless. That feeling that you have of yourself being confident in yourself.
Yeah,
So that is exactly how I feel. It's indescribable.
right.
It's indescribable. Like it's so certain, it's so warm, it's so beautiful. All the time I receive such feedback, I'm humbled.
Right. It's interesting how you used the emotions that go through a lady to describe that feeling. I'm like, how do you even know what we go through when people tell us they love us and when we actually feel the same way? But anyway, that was a very nice way of describing it. And if you were to look back at your 5-year-old self today and give your 5-year-old self advice, what would that be?
I will tell myself to pay attention to relationships and
Right,
to value relationships more than anything else.
right. Pay attention to relationships. Interesting, very interesting. So, Izu, you know that this is the conversation we're having today is also a way of maybe encouraging some people who are struggling with finding a career path or struggling with maybe transitioning from one career to the other for one reason or the other. So, I just wanted to ask if there was one piece of advice or if there was something you would want to share today with maybe young graduates or people who have just started a career and are struggling, what would you tell them?
Yeah, so my advice to them would be that they should learn to love what they do. They shouldn't do what they love at the first instance. They should love to do what they're doing. They should love it. Whatever their hands find it to do, love it. Cherish it. Do it. Put in your best. And so when you migrate from that level, the next level you get to will be the level where you now do what you love. But when you focus on doing what you love rather than loving what you do at first instance, you might get yourself into a big problem. And the final thing I would say to them is put all your hope in God. There is a blessing that only God can release unto you. Only God is capable to give us endlessly, more than exceeding, more than the thoughts and the imaginations of anybody. Those will be my kind and thoughtful words to the people and anyone listening to this at this point.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I'm also looking at the impact failure has had. Like you mentioned, you had a couple of challenges. So I'm looking at how did your failures impact your growth process? What role did failure play on your journey?
It shaped my character. It made me to
Right.
become more humble and it taught me how to love.
Oh, okay. When you say it made you become more humble, should we assume that you used to be a little proud before?
Oh, there is nothing as being a little pride. You're either an arrogant person or not.
Oh, wow.
So I used to be very, very arrogant. I used
Oh,
to be
really?
very, very, yeah, I used to be that way until I experienced countless of failures.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that my personality was humbled, but I
Yeah.
would say that my soul became subject to the terms and the beautiful psychology and nature of humility. Humility is a beautiful thing. Humility is strength. Humility is wisdom. Humility is progress. And most importantly, humility means that your mind is receptive to growth and development.
Oh wow. I think you're the real example of don't judge a book from its cover. Because looking at your, well, let me just say this, looking at your picture, looking at your profile on LinkedIn, I would really never have thought that you would be someone who is arrogant. But now hearing you say it, I'm like, oh, really? This is really interesting. I would never even have imagined that you were someone that's very arrogant anyway. But Izu, thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation with me. And again, to all those who are listening to us, Izu is a TEDx curator. So if you are interested in delivering a TEDx talk, he is the go-to person. And some of the things I've picked up from the conversation with you is that passion is very powerful. And what you're saying is we should focus more on doing what we love than on just loving the things we do. And it's very necessary for us to polish our passion with knowledge. So it's a journey. You don't just get to somewhere and you say, okay, I have gotten there. It's a continuous process. Every day we are learning to get better and better. And the other thing too I picked up is that we should hold on and guard our minds because external distractions can be very limiting. So we should not let ourselves be consumed by these external distractions. And in terms of relationships, I think this is the one thing that I really hold on to the most is the paying attention to relationships because that is one thing that in times of need you would really need. Relationships are some of the building blocks of what has provided support to most of us. It's relationships. So hold on to your relationships diligently. Thank you so much, Izu, for honoring me today with with your presence. And I wish you the best as you continue on your career path. And good luck in your TEDx events 2025. I'm looking forward to actually watching you on the stage on that day.
Yeah, thank you so much for your thoughtful words. I appreciate your wisdom. And nice being here once again. And for all the persons who listen in, please support Mabel's work. This is a go-to place to listen to fantastic stories and be transformed. The most powerful thing to do is to take action.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Izu. Thank you.